Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving deep into the massive historical legacy, the agonizing heartbreak, and the just staggering scale of the biggest sporting event in the world. Now look, if you're a football fan, you already live for this, right? You know the stakes, and you've definitely lost your voice screaming at the TV a few times. But today we're going to zoom out a bit. We're looking at the history and the absolute wild evolution of how this one single competition managed to completely captivate the entire planet.
Okay, let's jump right in with a number that is just mind-boggling. 200,000. I mean, just try to wrap your head around the sheer physical reality of that for a second. That is 200,000 human beings packed into one single Brazilian stadium.
And no, that's not an exaggeration. It is literally the largest crowd to ever watch a sporting event in human history. And the crazy part, they weren't there for some modern mega concert with billion-dollar logistics or crazy digital ticketing. They were there for the 1950 World Cup final. I mean, just organizing that many people in one place without modern communication is an absolute logistical marvel. So how did one tournament go from being pretty obscure to the biggest thing on Earth? Let's take a look.
Section 1. Humble Beginnings in Uruguay. To really grasp the massive scale of 1950, we actually need to rewind back to the very first tournament in 1930.
The contrast is honestly night and day. Back in 1930, only 13 teams showed up to Uruguay. Some players literally had to take 2-week boat rides across the ocean just to get there. There was no TV, no internet, and frankly, no guarantee this whole thing was even going to survive. Most of the world didn't even know it was happening. But Uruguay won, and this fragile little tradition was born. Then, fast forward just 20 years to 1950, Brazil builds the Maracanã, the biggest custom-built stadium ever seen, drawing 200,000 fans, all with the suffocating pressure to win on their home soil.
But here's where it gets heartbreaking. Brazil was the heavy favorite. Everyone thought it was a guaranteed win. Instead, Uruguay absolutely shocked them in the final minutes. Imagine that, 200,000 screaming fans going completely dead silent, all at once. Brazilians call it the Maracanazo, the Maracanã blow. Even 75 years later, it's still remembered as one of the most painful days in the country's history. But you know what? That heartbreak proved to the globe that this wasn't just a game anymore. It could literally break a nation's heart.
Section 2. Pelé and the TV revolution. So how did this national obsession turn into a global phenomenon?
Well, it's all about the television. The TV era hit. And for the very first time ever, fans all over the entire globe could watch the exact same match at the exact same second. Just think about that shift. People from Buenos Aires to Berlin sharing this massive experience in real time. And right when the whole world finally tuned in, this 17-year-old kid stepped onto the pitch and changed everything. People always say he didn't just play football, he turned it into art. Winning his first World Cup in 1958 at just 17 years old, Pelé was the absolute perfect superstar for the TV age. His playstyle was just so fluid, so joyful, you simply couldn't look away. He went on to win 3 World Cups, a record nobody has touched since. He brilliantly used this new televised stage to make the entire planet fall in love with the sport. Suddenly, it wasn't just South America's or Europe's game. It belonged to all of us.
Section 3. Generations of Football Legends. With the world watching, the stage was set for some truly larger-than-life icons.
It really is an unbelievable lineage. You've got Pelé setting the gold standard in '58. Then jump to 1986, where Diego Maradona practically wins the whole thing for Argentina single-handedly, famously dribbling past 5 English players in one of the most incredible runs ever. And that magic tracks all the way to 2022, right up to Lionel Messi lifting the trophy at 35. But of course, the modern era leading up to that gave us decades of just ridiculously fierce competition. We had absolute legends like Zidane running the midfield, the Brazilian Ronaldo just dominating with pure speed, and then the ultimate rivalry, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Just imagine the pressure. 2 of the greatest players to ever walk the earth, shattering records left and right but desperately battling, decade after decade for that one single prize that kept slipping away.
And man, the emotional release of that chase in 2022 was something else. Messi, at 35, on what everyone knew was his absolute last real shot, finally does it. Seeing him lift that trophy, crying tears of pure joy, it moved the entire world. Even if you don't care about football, you felt it. It was a lifetime of suffocating pressure finally lifting on the biggest stage imaginable.
Section 4. Why it matters today. Let's bring all this history right into the present. After seeing all this crushing heartbreak and euphoric triumph, you really have to ask,
So why does the World Cup matter so much? Why does it bring the whole world to a standstill for a month every 4 years?
Well, it really boils down to three things. First off, that 4-year gap, it means players only get 1, maybe 2 fleeting shots at glory in their prime. Miss it, and that door shuts forever. Second, it totally transcends sports. It's pure national identity. When those players step out, it feels like the whole country is out there on the pitch with them. And third, it's about the memories. Over 90 years of shared, lifelong memories. You remember exactly where you were and who you were hugging when that winning goal went in.
Which brings us to right now. Because this year, for the first time ever, that dense 90-year legacy is coming to America. The sheer scale and pressure of this tournament have never been higher. And now you know the unbelievable weight and deep history behind every single match you're about to tune into.
So, I'm going to leave you with this to chew on. With 90 years of history, legendary triumphs, and absolutely crushing defeats arriving on American soil, whose heart is going to be broken next? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Make sure you hit subscribe, because we're going to be covering everything, the tactics, the history, the data, right here. I'll catch you in the next one.